I'm Mint Salad and I saw Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. It is directed by Ryan Coogler. And I've seen the other Black Panther movies. I've seen the Marvel movies. You can check out my reviews, my previous reviews. They're in a playlist just for you for easy viewing. So if you haven't seen my previous reviews, go check them out. And if you haven't seen this movie, I will spoil it for you. The movie starts in a pretty somber way. We start with just a very quiet, musicless opening shot. And I like this opening. It very much was like, okay, I have to really pay attention to what's going on screen at this point. And we're seeing the aftermath of, well, the previous Black Panther is dead. And we have the Queen and the Princess are to deal with it. So we're following Shuri, who is the princess, and also Ramonda. They're talking about how there's an effort to recreate the herbs, those heart-shaped herbs that make, have some magical powers that make the Black Panther, but Killmonger destroyed them all. I'm like, okay, this is an interesting concept. I'm on board at this point. Got me pretty much hooked. And then a year later, we're now discovering that everyone else outside of Wakanda is talking about vibranium, how they're like a threat or something. I personally don't think that Wakanda is much of a threat. And other countries, I feel like they're just trying to start some sort of war so they can get the vibranium, because they have a very strong, powerful substance. And I'm just like, alright, it's probably very necessary to protect your very important resource. And everybody's trying to attack you for it. This is very important because this thread kind of continues throughout the rest of the movie. Everyone's trying to attack Wakanda. There's some talk about some vibranium being in the middle of the ocean, and you have at least some Americans, they're trying to get some of the vibranium just to have some of it, and I'm just like, oh no, what is Wakanda gonna do about this? Because it is very vital to their existence that vibranium is they have the only vibranium in Earth, and now there's some other vibranium somewhere. So now it is time to watch the process of vibranium being extracted from the ocean. And the vibranium is so strong that their drills are ruined. And then bam, they get attacked. Some just random people in the ocean. It's really creepy the way that they just poke their heads out of the water. And I'm like, oh boy, what is happening? What is the suspense like? And then they get attacked from all sides. And I'm like, I don't think this is the work of Wakanda. I don't think they're just gonna pop their heads out of the ocean. This is somebody else. And there's a bunch of blue people. They kind of remind me of naiads. The only reason why I say naiads, because I recently did an animation where I drew some naiads. That's why they reminded me of them. I'm like, whoa! This is wow. Now we're dealing with water. We first dealt with space. And now we're dealing with the people underwater. And I personally like this because there's always some sort of mystery of what could be underwater. Like 90% of it, I think, is undiscovered. And, well, there might as well be like full civilizations living under the water. And so I'm like, alright, okay, let's see what's happening. Well, obviously, that entire mining facility in the water, it's destroyed, everyone's dead. I'm like, oh, God, okay. This is rough. What is going to happen? And I'm assuming that everyone who, all the higher-ups having to deal with the fact that the mining is now damaged, they're probably going to blame Wakanda for it. While we have Ramonda and Shuri talking about, well, we should probably get past the fact that our king is dead, and now I'm the queen and I'm in charge. We should probably move on, deal with the fact that there's a bunch of vibranium, and then while they're having this conversation on their own home soil, by the way. Just some random guy just walks out of the water. And I'm like, what? I thought they have like the best security, not water security. If these are like water guys, of course they could easily pass through and just like, oh yeah, I could just contact Wakanda guy by going through the water channels. No one ever thought of that. And obviously they didn't think of this either. And so there's a whole flippity-floppity fight in which they're evenly matched. It's because he has a lot of vibranium around his neck. His name is Raymore. That's the guy. He threatens, hey, if you don't become our ally and come to war with us and wage war on the humans, then we're gonna wage war on you, and we have a ton of people. We have so many people. We have all of them. How many people could be underwater? That's my question at this point. I'm just like, what? Okay, here's a threat that no human can deal with alone, because Wakanda can't deal with it. So I'm, okay, stakes raised. All right, let's go. Ramonda is like, all right, Shuri, okay, yay, please, go find out some information. And so Shuri does that, goes to scientist Ross. He's in the CIA. He's a CIA guy. It's their intel. He's got the deets. He's like, hey, I know who made that machine. It's that lady over there. It just shows some lady who now is in college. She's a college student. She's 19. They go into her dorm room and talk to her. And of course she's freaked out. I would be freaked out. It's just some like two random people I don't know just in like honestly the coolest wardrobe ever. Just like walked up and was like, hey, you made that machine, right? Yeah, please help us. And she does want to help them, which is honestly good. That's very convenient, honestly. I'm glad that she wants to help them. The scientist, her name is Riri, and she takes the two of them to a cool place. It's like a cool warehouse where she's like, all right, here's my life's work. And it's not much. There's so much. And I'm like, okay. I'm a big fan of her character already. Then the FBI comes around and they're like, oh, we're gonna get you. Ooh. We're gonna get you. Ooh. And then, amazing plan. All right, let's put each of you in a car. One of you in the car, one of you in a motorcycle, and then I'm going to be in a cool suit that isn't showed until a little bit later, especially during a helicopter. Wow. And a bunch of planes. Oh boy, wow, there's a whole bunch of battling in the air. It's Ironheart. I love the outfit. Oh my god, it's beautiful. I also really like the colors. She mentioned the colors is like red and blue, heart. So it's kind of like an Iron Man, but not. So I like that character. So it's also just fun seeing, oh, we're gonna go flippity floppity. And guess who comes? Namor has appeared. He's like, oh, we're gonna get you. Ooh. And then ends up getting Shuri. Shuri is going underwater. And OKA is like, no! She does her best. She does her best to try to get Shuri back, but Shuri ends up going underwater. And I'm like, maybe, I know it was voluntary. It was voluntary. Yeah, that's the word, voluntary. I like Shuri's development of first like, all right, I don't want to be open-minded a little bit, but then she's like, oh, actually, let me a little bit understand you more. And then, okay, it has to deal with the fact that she doesn't have Shuri anymore, and so when she goes to Wakanda, Ramonda is like, you're fired. Get out of here. Get on. Get out. Skedaddle. You're not allowed. You have misplaced two people in the past that I've trusted you to keep safe, and now you're stripped of her rank. And it's really sad just seeing her not cry, but almost cry. She's on the verge of tears and she just like walks away. I'm like, oh, she's just gonna cry. Oh, she dedicated her entire life, and then just like that, her entire rank is being stripped, that's a little bit harsh, don't you think, Ramonda? I think she might be like, she should be responsible to get her back, honestly. That's what I think, but I'm not the queen, I'm not controlling a country, so I don't have that perspective on why she was so drastic. So Ramonda, not having a trustworthy person to go to anymore, instead goes to her son's ex, Nakia. She lives in Haiti. She lives in a beautiful place in Haiti. It's very bright. I believe it's to show that she's living her best life, just helping people out, and I think it's admirable. I immediately like her already. She seems to be a very good person. So when Ramonda asks Nakia to find Shuri, which, by the way, she thinks that Shuri's alive, so why did she strip OKA of her title? Again, I'm not a queen, I don't have that perspective. Meanwhile, we're also seeing Shuri discover the underwater beauty of where Namor is taking her. And honestly, it's super vast. I'm very impressed with the vast scale of it. Just the entire city, there's like a whole civilization living underwater. And I am like, whoa, this is so pretty. I would live here if I could breathe water, and probably anyone else would. It's so amazing. But he's telling the story of how he had to struggle to get to this place, which I'm like, yeah, you should probably enjoy your fruits of your labor. The struggle specifically is his mom was pregnant with him, plus like a bunch of other people during like the Mayan time, like 1680, 1580, 1500s, around there. I'm not very history versed, so I don't know the exact era, but this is during the time of like the 1500s, and you got a bunch of people, presumably they're in danger. There's a whole tribe in danger, and they gotta drink this liquid, this blue glowing liquid. Would you drink the blue glowing liquid if you had to? Leave a comment in below. If you're being chased by some outside force and you had to go underwater and you're like, oh, there's a blue liquid, I'm gonna drink it, would you? You gotta tell me in the comments, because it's a whole debate that I'm starting now. So also, Namor's mom, she's like, I don't want to drink that, I'm pregnant. And then she gets peer pressured into it. Then all of them fall down and then turn blue, and then they can breathe underwater. But can they breathe on air? I think this generation they can. It doesn't really show whether they can or can't, but when Namor is born, he has pointy ears, he can do both, and I'm like, okay, now we're left with a generation that can't breathe on air without some sort of water over their face. And I'm just thinking, why did those traits not get passed down to go breathe on air and the ocean? Is it this, they've been in the ocean for a long time and so they've evolved outside the need of breathing air? Or is it just, yeah, they didn't go to air much, so I guess that's the answer. I answered my own question. Huh. So Namor is like, hey, Shuri, you've seen all my beautiful place. We have so many people here. If you don't ally with us, then you're going to go to war with us. And then Shuri is like, I'm going to think about it. I'm going to do a big ol' think. What's the big ol' thinking my head thinking about? Maybe, I don't know. I don't have enough time to think because I get snatched by Nakia in her cool little hover ship boat thing, speed propeller water thing, whatever it's called. It's really cool. I'm like, whoa, oh, awesome. She's able to survive probably the surface level of being above a very pressurized city, so Shuri, now that I think about it, and they snatch her up, and And then Neymar's like, hey, that's an act of war. You can't do that. And I'm like, they just did. Haha, you goober. That's the best insult I could come up with, is a goober. He's a goober. I should also mention, before there's the plot to, hey, could you please make a heart? Make these hearts, please? And Shuri is like, alright, I'm actually gonna do it. We have a big old bombing thanks to Raymar. He's like, hey, I'm gonna throw a bunch of big old bombs full of water and kill all your citizens because they don't deserve to live, and you have a week. We'll come back with everyone that we have. So Shuri's like, alright, I'm gonna really synthesize these heart-shaped herb things. They're like flowers, they're blue flowers, and it's a cool sequence just seeing like, oh, she tries and tries and tries again, she gets a bunch of red results, and then green, and then she has a synthesized thing that actually would work, and then let's grind the fruit of this flower, and then give it to Shuri, have her slurp it up, slurp! But she's not buried in the sand, she's on a really cool, comfy foam mattress, it seems like, and I'm like, oh, I'd like to sleep on that, honestly. And she goes to the ancestral plane, and guess who's there? Aw, she doesn't like Killmonger, but Killmonger's like, hey, there's only two types of king. The king that has too much honor, the one that doesn't have too much honor, the one that gets stuff done. And I'm like, you know what, Killmonger? You make a solid point. Wow, okay, this is a 360 flippity floppity. I mean, he's just doing things just to get things done. And sometimes the things that he does is bad, but it's just based on perspective. Good versus bad is entirely based on perspective. So his perspective is being shared with Shuri. He's like, alright, fine, I'm gonna get stuff done. I'm going to become the Black Panther. I'm like, alright, let's get this arc. Ooh, arc in time. We're also following Ross. Oh, you remember him? He only shows up the second time in this movie, and he's just kind of walking about in his house, and he got his ex, Valerie. She's like, you're under arrest. You've been talking to the Wakandans. They're terrorisms. Don't you know? They cause the terrorizing. And he's like, but you don't understand. And then he gets arrested. Now it is time for the week has passed. And Shuri is like, big old revenge time. And being told peace? Nope, peace is no good. You've killed Ramonda in the drownings a week prior. She was trying to save the scientists. It was a very big old noble move of her, but she ends up dying to the funeral. And now it is time for my revenge. I am the new Black Panther, and we're gonna have a big old battle in the middle of the ocean. On a ship with a bunch of water people. And I'm like, okay, Shuri, I know you want revenge, but is this smart? I don't think so. You should probably take him to land, honestly, just like somewhere else. But I also understand your train of thought was, we have to have it somewhere remote. We don't want to damage things. We don't want to like cause a bunch of collateral damage except for the death of our people. And then we get to see a whole bunch of water people just climbing on the sides of this large ship. And it starts off fine. Wakanda is winning. And then more water people show up. And there's also a bunch of whales that come in, and there are even more reinforcements happen, and I'm like, oh, wow, just so many Wakandans died. Well, okay, now it's just a few Wakandans just kind of backed in the corner fighting off, but like, what if they're pushed to the edge? Then all of those Wakandans are dead. You just killed all your people, Shuri. Why? But I know why Shuri did that. She wanted to drag Namor. Hello, Namor. Follow me. We're gonna have a big old fight. We're gonna go into the lands, the desert. And then you're gonna get dried up like a crispy bacon. You're gonna be crispy. I'm gonna put you in a pan, put some butter on you, crisp you up. This This is me cooking bacon. This is how I prepare bacon, like Neymar right now. He's crisping in the sun. And we have Shuri. Shuri's like, alright, big ol' revenge time. I could cut you right now. And then she thinks about it. She's like, this is only gonna cause more trouble. They think of him as a god. All of those water people will come to us. Maybe we shouldn't do this. And there's a whole like, hey, please don't kill me. And she's like, oh, I'm gonna do it. And then big ol' think, I'm not gonna do it. If you do not wage war on us, please. And please do not wage war on us. We would lose. And of course he's like, yeah, sure. I'll save myself. And then we get to see a cute personal moment with Neymar and someone close to him. The person's like, why? And he's like, come on. We are their only ally. And I'm like, yeah, that's good. That's a good point. That's honestly a good point. Wakanda has a bunch of enemies. We got a bunch of people trying to like steal their vibranium. People just barging in, just like, ooh, we're better than Wakandans. And then like, bam, a bunch of soldiers come out, and then, no, you cannot have our vibranium. Why did you try to break in and grab our vibranium? So, you know, Wakanda's big number one enemy. I swear. So what are we gonna do with Riri? Well, let's take her back to MIT, and Okoye can help Ross out. Thank you, Ross, for giving us the deets. This is your third appearance in this movie, but thank you for your contribution. And then, Shuri, nope, I do not want the throne. And she doesn't appear to her throne ascension. It's actually a neighboring tribe. The mountain guy from the first movie. I remember him. He's cool. And honestly, they did help Wakanda out, so, you know, he might as well be their king. He might be a very good king. I'm excited to see how well he does kinging stuff around. And then, after this, we see Nadia's back in Haiti. She's been a very good help. Thank you, Nadia. Hey, I have a son. Nadia's like, hey, I have a son, Shuri. Thanks for coming to my house. And he's your brother's son. That makes you his aunt. And I'm like, okay, cool. The ascension line continues. That's fun. And that's how the movie ends. And I'm like, okay, this was very much a roller coaster from start to finish. Oh boy, let me talk a little bit about the character development. I especially like Shuri's character development the most. She starts off not wanting to have anything to do with the Black Panther tradition. She's like, oh, it's old, it's boomer stuff, ew. I don't like any of that stuff. Then, when she realizes the necessary function of the Black Panther, she's like, alright, I'm gonna have to fix all this stuff up. And she, like, takes charge. And then she becomes the Black Panther. And she even, like, trains and, like, is more of the Black Panther. She does her best. And I'm just, like, amazing. And then she's like, I don't want to be in charge. I just want to protect. And I'm like, okay, that is a very fun character evolution for her character. Ramonda seems to be very controlling, but also I like her character as a mother figure. She's protective as well. A little bit too emotional to her protection. And as a result, she dies, and that's the end of her character growth. I wish she could see Shuri becoming the Black Panther. And then we also have Riri. She is smart, and she is very brilliant. And she does smart things and brilliant things. That's the furthest I know her character. Not as deep as Shuri, but I think this movie had more of a focus on Shuri's hero's journey, as you will. I should also mention just the general colors. First of all, the tone of this movie is pretty dark, because it is a dark movie. It is dealing with the aftermath of the death of the king. And first, morning. The morning process is dark. And I believe this movie is just about finding yourself after morning and stepping up and becoming a person and leading the charge. And so the movie progressively gets brighter and brighter until at the end, the very end scene is very bright as they're back in Haiti. Also, the Haiti scenes are also very bright. So Nadia is having a very good life. And there's a future ahead of us. Very much on the nose message with her child. The cinematography, very pretty. There's a lot of fun shots. Especially I gotta mention again the shot of the underground city and you're just going in and flippity-floppeting while you're exploring the place as you're with Shuri. I liked this part. I also like the fight scenes, very broad. There's also some human perspective on it too. It's like, oh, what are they going to do? Oh, they're in own coordination. And then we see the broad of everything. And it's like, oh, they're surrounded. They're empty, surrounded by a bunch of water people. How are they going to win? The music also helps with establishing a lot of the dramatic tension during that fight scene, but also helps establish some of the mood. Like the song, or lack thereof, rather. There is a lot of lack thereof music in the beginning, except for some moments where it's like, ooh, there's some tension going on. Ooh, what's gonna happen? And then some big dramatic music for the big dramatic fights, or very wonderful, whimsical music during the ocean scene. It's like, ooh, very wonderful. And I think the music was done well. This is a long movie, but I did not feel it was a long movie. I felt every part was very much necessary, and it kept me engaged the entire time. There was no moments where I was like, when will this movie end? How long have I been sitting here? Nope, none of that. So, because I was so engaged, I felt like I was along the character's journey the entire time. I gotta give this movie a solid 8.6 out of 10. If you like this review, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video with everyone you know. The ultimate goal of this channel is for me to become an expert movie reviewer. So if I haven't reviewed it on the channel, there's a chance I haven't seen it at all. So you can request a movie in the comments below, or you can fast track the request at patreon.com/ASEPresents for $20 a month for one movie review per 1 month. Or $3 a month for some daily vlogs, all at patreon.com/ASEPresents. And if you want to help support the daily grind, go to this link tree right here for some NSFW content, daily sets. It helps support the daily grind of all of this movie reviews. So go here, and until next time, I'm mint salad sauce. See you later, my salad croutons and bacon bits.